Good morning, everyone, and welcome back once again to another session on polity and constitution. I hope I'm audible as well as visible. Okay, let's begin now. I think all of us have joined. So, in the previous class, that is yesterday, we covered a lot of ground pertaining to electoral issues, and I also invested some time into discussing the one nation, one election concept. And then we also discussed, uh, more importantly, the other parts of the constitution, like part 1, union and its territories, and part 2, citizenship. Right now we'll move on today. Today we'll be covering a lot of ground, small topics in quick succession, starting with UTs, article 370, schedule 5 areas, 6 areas, emergency provisions, and finally, of course, center state relations. And if time permits, we'll also begin our discussion on the fundamental rights. Okay, so let's begin now our discussion. Of course, before that, we'll firstly solve some questions. Questions for the day. Okay, so recusal of judges. Have we heard this term before? Under some article, while you're discussing Article 136, I had mentioned this term, recusal of judges, right? Because we're discussing about the principles of natural justice, recusal. So, as per the Judges Inquiry Act 1968, if a judge does not recuse himself from a case involving conflict of interest, it can become one reason for removal. No, Judges Inquiry Act only says two grounds of removal that is mentioned in the Constitution. What is that? Misbehavior and incapacity. Recusal cannot be a ground of removal and all. That's not there. Having a prior or personal association with a party involved in the case can be a reason for the recusal. Yes, that is the meaning of recusal. This is the meaning of recusal. Rahul, please remember the PONJ discussion that took place in the topic judiciary, Supreme Court. We have mentioned there what is the meaning of recusal. Please refer to that. Recusal means if a judge knows either party, he or she takes back their name from the bench, will not sit in the bench. That's called recusal. This is mentioned as a definition of recusal. So B2 only is the right answer. Next question. Okay, a lot of you got this correct. Great. Constitution of India has given power to the Supreme Court to hear a petition as an appeal, even if High Court refuses to grant the certificate for appeal. That is what is called an SLP, special leave petition. Special leave petition is a discretionary power of the Supreme Court and cannot be claimed as a matter of right. Of course, Supreme Court may accept a petition, may refuse the petition. Both are correct. D, both 1 and 2 being the right answer. Please mark answer for the question number 3. Capital punishment passed by a trial court cannot be executed without the concurrence, approval of which court? Tell me, Supreme Court or the High Court? High Court and not Supreme Court. A is wrong. Assertion is wrong. A is wrong. A is wrong. Right answer. India has a pyramidal integrated judicial structure that provides for the control of High Court over the subordinate one. Absolutely correct. Okay. Nevertheless, moving on to question number 4. Okay. So, which of the following statement regarding judges of the Supreme Court is incorrect? The senior most judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed to the office of the Chief Justice of India is actually a correct statement. It is mandatory for the president to consult CJI. Yes, it's correct. Only a citizen of India, of course, can become a judge. So, Constitution has not prescribed any kind of age. This is the wrong statement. Hence, the right answer. Okay, incorrect statement had to be identified. And last question for the day. Please mark it carefully. Very good. Those who marked A, decreasing order of hierarchy. The highest being the High Court. Then we have the Sessions Court. Then we have the court of subordinate judge, and finally the munsif court. 1342. 1342. Right answer. Okay, that's it. We are done with the questions for the day. Now, let's move on and discuss the topics at hand. Leaderboard. So we have 5 people who have topped the leaderboard: Pradeep Kumar, Shahid, Sushant Verma, Kambapati Ravi Verma, and Golapalli Sai Kumar, toppers for today. Great. Then Panyala, Astha, Mitali, Arvind, Sundar, Himadri, Nikhil, Eman, Parshuram. 4 correct. Gaurav, Ganesh, Krishna, Dinesh, Kirti, Shilpa, Purva, etc. 3 and 2 correct each. Anyway, now next topic in front of us is the union territories. So we have discussed about the states, we have discussed about the center, and now UTs. By the way, yesterday we had the main examination, and it was a polity paper, GS paper 2, and 1, of course. One is of no concern to me. So, did you guys get a chance to see GS paper 2? No? Did anybody? No. So, I think once you see the paper, you will be surprised that there were things that we had discussed. I think everyone would have discussed it. It's nothing unique, which directly came, be it the question on judicial independence, be it the NALSA and the various aspects of where NALSA performs, be it the uh, very basic question on panchayats, right? So once you see the paper, you realize that uh, PPTs were important. If you could mug up the PPTs, right, it would be great. A question on parliamentary committees, right? We have discussed that in detail, including the financial committees only, right? So I've been telling you again and again not to focus on other committees. Parliamentary committees are sufficient. So yes, along these lines, the questions came, and it was relatively an easy paper. Maybe after the change in pattern of the prelims, UPSC has given a respite, a breather to the innocent aspirants in the main examination, right? Anyway, do see the paper. After all, it is very important for us to know what kind of questions have come in the examination. Now, moving on, let's discuss union territories. Now, don't go and rush and see the questions right now, right? There is no point in opening the questions now and typing it right now. Focus on studying. Okay. So, just a minute, guys. Just a minute, guys. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back quickly. Okay. Rahul, C is also wrong, as no age. C is the only wrong statement, not also wrong. And Siva, as of now, I don't have any information. If I get to know by the end of the day, I'll convey this in the class whether we have a holiday tomorrow or not. I think it's not a holiday tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow, so far. But I'm not making any kind of statement right now. Let's discuss this later on. How can this be the first question in the morning? Uh, Guys, there might be some sound because there's some work going on nearby. We are looking into it, so please don't panic. And NCV, I have no control over the sound, so please don't type things like, "Sir, please stop the sound." Yes, that's why I paused the video to look into the matter. I understand, but yeah, we also have to understand the limitations, right? Or what we can, what we cannot have a control over. I can't control other people around me, right? Uh, okay. So, coming to union territories, as far as the somebody says we are aspirants, we can struggle. Clearly, some of you don't agree with the struggle. Some of you are the aspirants of convenience. Nay, why should we struggle like this? Definitely, it's being looked into, guys. Don't worry. We are trying to tell those people not to make so much of noise. But again, as I said, some things beyond our control. Okay. Uh, what else do we have? Kamapati, sir, is it Article 239, 214, 249? No, it's 241, not 242, Kamapati. It is correct. Don't worry. Okay. So now let's begin. In case we have any queries and doubts, we'll look into it once we are done with this topic. See, as far as UTs are concerned, Part 8, Articles 239 to 241. So, how many UTs do we have? Tell me. How many union territories do we have? 9, 6, 7? We have 8 UTs. Oh, guys, please don't make a mess of how many states and UTs. How many states do we have? Tell me. How many states? Okay, great, 28 states. How many UTs? So we have 8 UTs. UT, Union Territory. Territory controlled by the Union. Now, these are the 8 UTs. So we have Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi, and Chandigarh. And then we have Lakshadweep, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu have been merged together. Clear? In 2019 only. It's a 4-year-old information. I hope you're all aware that Dadra, Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu, which you used to study in your school as 2 separate UTs, have been merged for administrative reasons. And then we have Andaman Nicobar here, and finally Pondicherry, or Puducherry as the name was changed in 2006. Puducherry, for those who don't know, is not just one place. Puducherry includes 4 places spread across 3 states. So Puducherry and Karaikal in Tamil Nadu, and then Yanam in Andhra Pradesh, and Mahe in Kerala. right? So this is spread across three different states, and we have Puducherry, four different parts coming under Puducherry. Clear? Now, a big question would be, why do we have UTs after all? What's the point of creating UTs? So there are two reasons, and this is not something unique to India. Let's be very clear. Creation of UTs is a standard provision across the globe. There are certain areas which are directly controlled by the union or the central governments of the country, of the nation. Now, what are two reasons which are there everywhere? Special care and protection of tribals. In every country, you have some tribals, and largely we have to take special care and protect the people, especially the indigenous people or people who are vulnerable, who are isolated, to protect those people, their culture, their custom. Those areas are directly controlled by the union. Second reason why we have union territories is because certain areas are maybe devoid of any resources or are too small to actually exist independently as a state. So the second reason is the lack of financial viability. So there is no financial viability here. Those areas cannot survive on their own, and these are two reasons why we may have union territories. Now, what are the reasons in India as to why we have these UTs? So in our country, we have these UTs, number one, because of strategic reason. Strategic reasons. There are certain areas which are strategically located, hence important for countries' security interests, etc., like Andaman Nicobar, like Jammu and Kashmir, like Lakshadweep. Then, of course, one important reason why we have UTs is that there are certain areas which are, or there will be certain part which will be a national capital, like the NCT of Delhi. What is NCT? NCT stands for the National Capital Territory of Delhi. So NCT of Delhi is made a UT because it is a capital. We cannot make the country's capital a part of a state. Then one more reason is sometimes there are certain areas which may have some kind of territorial dispute. Chandigarh is a classic example. An area, a dispute between Punjab and Haryana. Center said it goes to nobody, it comes to me. So Chandigarh is a UT which was created because of, or which was created as a UT because of the territorial dispute between Punjab and Haryana. And then sometimes you create UTs because an area has a distinct culture, a unique culture, and also to protect the interest of the tribals. Distinct or unique culture which needs to be protected. For example, Ladakh. For example, Puducherry. For example, Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Okay, so these are reasons why India has union territories. 4 reasons. Are we clear, everybody? So I hope now no doubts as to why. Rahul, I never understand these 3 Puducherry. Why these 3 Puducherry? Rahul, these 4 different areas were actually not under British control. So they were under French control, and these areas had very distinct culture compared to the neighboring areas, which were largely under British control and had more of an local governments there, the provincial governments, etc. So, in order to not have the other areas completely subsume those areas which are spread across 4 states, we have created these 4 as one common area controlled under by the main Pondicherry in Tamil Nadu. I'm not sure what is the concern here, right? So these 4 areas come under Pondicherry only. Clear? And Delhi have no tribals, I think. Rahul again. Who said Delhi has tribals? Uh, Rahul, are we like fully attending the class or anyway? Sir, is Goa not a UT? Gaurav, sir, what are you saying? Goa is not a UT, sir. Goa is a state, a full-fledged state, right? I mean, when we are studying about the state legislatures, did you not see that there are exceptions in certain states with respect to the number of MLAs? Do you remember? States like Nagaland, Arunachal, Sikkim, Goa was mentioned there. Eman, can we include geopolitical reason? Geopolitical reason. I mean, see, strategic reason could be, I mean, strategic reason is a very bigger word, and geopolitical is a part of strategic reason, right? Okay. So, geopolitical can be seen as strategic reasons, security, safety, geopolitical, etc. So, that can be seen as a part here, no problem. Pooja, NCT or NCR? No, no, they are different. I'll come to it shortly. They are different. Now, let us firstly see some provisions of the Constitution before we move on to discussing Delhi actually. So, administration of union territories. Save as otherwise provided by Parliament by law, except if the Parliament makes a law, every UT shall be administered by the President. Look at this. Every UT shall be administered by the President, acting to such extent as he thinks fit through an administrator. So basically, the president will govern the UTs, meaning center governs the UTs through administrators appointed by him with such designation as he may specify. So whatever designation that you may specify, that is different, but they are actually called administrators. That is why in some areas, the or for some UTs, the administrator is called an administrator only. But in other UTs, he is called LG, Lieutenant Governor, pronounced as Lieutenant, written as Lieutenant. I think you know Lieutenant. Lieutenant Governor or Lieutenant Governor is the correct pronunciation. Don't say Lieutenant, it sounds hilarious. Now, please tell me which UTs administrators are called LG. One is Delhi. You tell me the others. Don't say Delhi. I know Delhi. Okay, Pondicherry, Ladakh, J&K, Schedule 6 areas. UTs. They are called LG in Delhi, in Pondicherry, in Ladakh. Two more. J&K. One more. Wrong answer. Okay. Andaman Nicobar, somebody gave the right answer. Molya, finally. In these 5 areas, we call them LGs. In other areas, like Chandigarh, like Dadra and Nagar Haveli, what's the one left? Lakshadweep. In these 3 areas, we call them administrators only. Okay, clear? So it's just nomenclature. There is no particular difference. As it is said, with such designation as he may specify, whatever designation that you may give him, he is the administrator only. So administrator of Delhi is called LG. It's just like the presiding officer of Lok Sabha is called speaker, presiding officer of Raj Sabha is called the chairperson. No difference, right? They are both the presiding officers. Now, actually we have seen this clause 2 earlier. Can you recollect where have we seen this clause 2? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me the subtopic where we saw this clause 2? Let's see how efficiently the revisions are going on. Okay, we have one correct answer. Very good, Ravi. Just one correct answer so far. We saw this under the discretionary powers of governor, right? Discretionary powers of governor, specific topic. Let's read, you will recollect. Notwithstanding anything contained in part 6. What is the meaning of this word notwithstanding? Notwithstanding means in spite of. Okay, it means in spite of. Clear? In spite of whatever is mentioned in part 6. What is part 6? Part 6 of the Indian Constitution relates to which provisions? Tell me quickly. Part 6 relates to states. Come on, guys, quick. What is part 5 of the Indian Constitution? Tell me. What is part 5? Union. Okay. What is part 9A? What is part 9A? Not a single right answer. 9A is municipalities. Part 9 is panchayats. Dinesh, we are talking about parts, not schedule of the constitution. Parts. Then part 9 is panchayats. What is part 2 of the Indian constitution? Quickly, part 2. Fast. Citizenship. Salary. Guys, I am talking about part. Don't mention schedules. They are two different things. Please, at some point of time in your life, download the PDF of the Indian Constitution. You'll understand the entire Constitution is divided into various parts, like your books are divided into parts to cater to different topics. Similarly, so please don't mention schedules here. And what is part 1? What is part 1? Union and its territories is part 1. What is part 14A? What is part 14A? Tell me. Very good, Kamapati. Eman Shahid. Very good, yeah. It's tribunals. Part 14A is tribunals, which was added through the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Anyway, so what does this article say? Notwithstanding, in spite of anything contained in Part 6, the President may appoint the governor of a state as the administrator of an adjoining UT. And where a governor is so appointed, he shall exercise his functions as such administrator independently of his council of ministers. So basically, the example for this, a very good example is Punjab. So think of Punjab. Now, Punjab has a governor. Say Banwari Lal Purohit is the governor of Punjab. Any person, doesn't really matter, is a governor of Punjab. Now, when this person is the governor of Punjab, he or she is acting. He or she is acting at the behest of the Council of Ministers in Punjab. But if you make this person, the same person, also as the administrator of Chandigarh, while administering Chandigarh, this person acts independently. He is not bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers in Punjab or in Haryana. Clear? So whenever any governor is made the administrator of a neighboring UT, he or she will manage the UT on his own. For the state, of course, we know that there's a government there, so you have to follow the government's advice. But for the UT, you manage it on your own, right? Independently of his council of ministers. Article 239 clause 2, and this is a discretionary power of the governor explicitly mentioned in the constitution. Clear? Now, there are certain UTs which have been given legislature. So first is Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, Jammu and Kashmir does not have a functioning legislature right now. It does not have elections right now. Anyway, when the discussion was going on, it was mentioned in the by the government in the Supreme Court under the Article 370 court hearing that the government has plans to revive the statehood of Jammu and Kashmir. But anyway, we have performed the delimitation uh, of course, what we have performed a delimitation of the Jammu and Kashmir UT. So let's see whether we'll have elections shortly or not. Again, something completely beyond our control. It's the government which has to decide whether we will have what elections there or not. Then NCT of Delhi. Of course, we know that NCT of Delhi has a government. So we have Article 239AA, and also as per the provisions of the Government of NCT of Delhi Act 1992. Pondicherry also has a legislature, and in fact, Pondicherry has 33 MLAs. 33 MLAs are there in Pondicherry, and Pondicherry is a very unique UT, uh, and the assembly is very unique because 30 of them are elected and 3 are nominated. 3 MLAs are nominated by center. Clear? So that's for Pondicherry. Pondicherry also has a functioning legislature. Clear? Now, Akash, but sir, as an administrator, he'll be bound to the advice of council ministers. No, no, no. It is nowhere mentioned that the administrator has to follow the center's advice. The point is, if you don't follow, you'll be transferred or removed. But when you are made the administrator, you act independently for that area without anybody's control. But does that actually happen on ground? Not really, right? But ideally, that's the whole purpose. You appoint an administrator and let him act on his own. Clear? That's how we say it's an explicitly mentioned discretionary power given. Now our discussion on Delhi. Of course, Delhi has a UT. Firstly, as somebody had asked me, what is NCT, what is NCR? Let me just clarify. I think some of you would know this. NCR stands for the National Capital Region. NCR is an interstate regional planning area. Okay, a regional planning area. Meaning, if think of this, the bigger circle and the smaller circle. The smaller circle is NCT and the bigger circle is NCR. So actually the UT of Delhi is the NCT of Delhi, the National Capital Territory of Delhi. What we see as NCR is a larger area covering other parts of the state, also the neighboring areas of Delhi. So, be it Faridabad, Gurgaon, right? Uh, be it Ghaziabad, Noida, in UP, of course. Be it Alwar, Rajasthan. So, some parts of these areas, right? From UP, from Haryana, from Rajasthan, these areas collectively are called NCR. Okay, and Delhi is just this. What you say as the capital, just this. The UT, just this, not this. Sir, I live in NCR, Faridabad. Okay, great that you're living in Faridabad. Amazing, right? So, Senthil, Noida. Okay, great. Senthil live in Noida. Amazing, great. So I hope now the doubt is clear of NCR and NCT. Gaurav, no, that is not going to be the case, right? It may not always happen. When you have when you have the government, then that post is required. Okay. Now, I will underline and highlight. Shahid, Delhi means NCR. Uh, it can be used interchangeably. Yes, but again, Delhi should not mean NCR. When we refer to Delhi, we refer to NCT of Delhi only. We don't refer to NCR because Delhi means the UT of Delhi. It's the neighboring regions which are parts of other states actually, officially and formally. So calling them Delhi is wrong. That is why they have their own names. Faridabad, Noida, Alwar, Gurgaon. So we should not call these parts as Delhi. This is Delhi, right? And in all references in general also, when you say Delhi, this is what people mean. Okay. Now, NCT of Delhi has 70 seat assembly. So there are how many MLAs here? 70 MLAs. Point number one. Please answer this question. Who appoints the chief minister in your state? So all those belonging to states of say Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, UP, Rajasthan, etc. Who appoints the CM in your state? Governor, right? Okay. Who is saying president? But in Delhi, the CM is appointed by the president. Point number one. The CM is not appointed by LG. He is appointed by the President of India. Okay. Point number two. In every state, whichever state you belong to, what is the total number of or the maximum limit of the ministers in the council, including CM? Tell me, what's the upper limit? Of course, we know 15%. But in Delhi, the upper limit is 10%, not 15%. One more point of difference. Now, my question is, say a state of UP or West Bengal, Kerala, Odisha, whatever. In your state, the state legislature has the power to make laws on all the matters of state list topics. Yes or no? All the topics mentioned in the state list. Yes or no? Yes, of course. That's a point of state list. That list contains those topics, those entries on which states can make laws. But the assembly, LA is the Legislative Assembly of Delhi, can make laws on all matters in the state list except public order, police, and land. These are entry number 1, entry number 2, entry number 18 of the state list. Of the state list. Are we clear? I'm sure some of you would already be aware of this fact. For others, the Assembly of Delhi cannot make laws on 3 topics. These laws are controlled, or these topics are controlled by the center only. Clear? So that is why I keep on seeing Mr. Kejriwal cribbing about we can't do anything. What can we do? Right? Delhi police is not in our control. So that is a point to be observed. Now, in your state, whichever state you belong to, who performs the task of delimitation? Tell me, who decides number of seats? SC reservation, ST reservation? Which body decides all this? We have a body, an independent body comprising of SEC, comprising of CEC, comprising of retired Supreme Court judge. That body is called Delimitation Commission. In the case of Delhi, Parliament by law will regulate number of seats in the assembly, division of NCT into territorial constituencies, including SC reservation. It's all decided by the Parliament for Delhi, not Delimitation Commission. Okay. All other matters relating to the functioning of the assembly. And let me tell you something. If you want to make a law on state list subject for, say, Telangana today, if center wants to make a law, center as of now has only 2 ways to do it. Number one, either you take the subject only out of state list and put it in the union list or concurrent list, or Raj Sabha under Article 249 gives you special powers. Yes or no? Only in these two circumstances can the center make laws on a state list topic in Telangana. But for Delhi, very, very important, Parliament is competent to make laws over all matters in the state and concurrent lists in relation to the NCT of Delhi. Please, please read this. All matters in the state list. Are we clear? So, Delhi has no such power, right? Delhi has no such ultimate claim over anything. The Delhi Assembly has no such claim that we are the rightful owners of the state list topics. Don't interfere. It's a UT, right? So this is actually a provision in the constitution pertaining to the NCTD, that the parliament has full authority to make laws on all topics in the state list subjects or on the state list subjects. Anyway, we have this information now. Let's move on further and let's firstly look at issue number 1, the LG versus CM issue. So what exactly is this LG versus CM issue? So firstly, let's see the constitutional provision which will clarify what exactly is the concern here. Article 239AA, Clause 4. There shall be a Council of Ministers consisting of not more than 10% of the total number of members in the Assembly, with the CM at the head to aid and advise the LG in the exercise of his functions. CM at the head to aid and advise the LG in the exercise of his functions. Okay, fair enough. In relation to matters with respect to which the assembly has the power to make laws. Of course. Which topics does the assembly have the power to make laws? Which topics are you referring to? The state list subjects minus 1, 2, and 18, meaning public order, police, and land. So, no problem. That's understood that the CM will advise the LG in relation to all the matters where the assembly has the power to make laws, except insofar as he is, LG is, by or under any law, by or under any law, required to act in his discretion. So if any law is there which says that LG act on your own, then it's okay. Otherwise, LG will follow the COM's advice. This means here also there is this drama of discretion, except under any law required to act in his discretion. That's it. Now comes the real catch. Uh, I think it is a very poor choice of words that we have made in the next paragraph. This is the proviso in the same article added next. This paragraph, let me explain it first and then we'll read together. Think of a simple point. Uh, the CM says that LG, in the office, we want to install curtains. Please, LG. We want to install curtains in the uh, we want to install curtains in the buildings, official buildings. Please, LG, grant the permission. We want to install blue colored curtains. LG says, no, 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 no. My favorite color is pink. Sorry. I want to install pink colored curtains. Now, the problem is there is a dispute between the LG and the CM. Difference of opinion. What will the LG do now? In case there is any difference of opinion, LG will tell the president that, President, see, we are fighting. You decide now. Which curtains? Now, when you ask the president to decide which colored curtains to use, you have to send the sample to the president. Sample of pink, sample of blue. The president is a busy person, right? So she will look into the sample, try to install both of them in one room each, and then look into whether blue is looking nice or pink is looking nice. it may take some time for the president to give her opinion or decision. In the meantime, while the president is deciding on the matter, curtains are very urgent, because if there are no curtains, then people will come to know who's taking bribes inside the office. I mean, sorry, who's doing what kind of work in the office. So curtains have to be installed. So if the LG feels it is very, very urgent, we have to install curtains. President is taking too much time to decide. In the meantime, LG can act on his own discretion and can tell the CM, come on, pink curtains. When the president decides, we'll see. Right now, follow my advice. Are you clear on this? Everyone, let's read the article now. Provided that in case there is a difference of opinion between the LG and his ministers on any matter, the LG shall refer to the president. Of course, LG shall refer it to the president. Goes without saying. For the decision, and will act according to the decision given thereon by the president. LG will act according to the decision that the president gives. But. And pending such decision, that's where the point comes. And pending such decision, it shall be competent for the LG. It shall be competent for the LG in any case where the matter, in his opinion, is so urgent that it is necessary for him to take immediate action, to take such action. So in the meantime, while the president decides, in that time gap, LG will act on his own. And in his opinion, if the matter is urgent, then he can take immediate action. Are we clear on this? So this is with respect to the LG versus CM issue. Now, please tell me, if you read this provision, who do you think has the ultimate power? What is your opinion? Just mere reading of the article. Of course, we know the LG. In fact, the LG can raise a concern in anything. CM says, sir, we are ordering some cashew nuts. Please sign. No, order almonds. Rejected. I mean, you can actually have a difference of opinion on everything, including things like, sir, please appoint this person at that post. LG says, no, not this person, that person. Right? Curtains and cashew nuts is a very nice, fun-filled thing. But appointment of staff, taking policy decisions, now that's getting serious. And there is ultimate control of the LG only. So normally this issue has never come up. But when Mr. Kejriwal came to power in Delhi, see, one thing you have to understand, that whether you like the person or don't like the person, but he gave a thrashing and drubbing to BJP in Delhi, right? Especially the second time. First time, of course, BJP won more than 30 seats actually, right? And Arvind Kejriwal's party was not the big largest party in Delhi. But when he came back again, he gave a drubbing to BJP, and which was not largely digested by BJP nicely. So an LG was there, Najib Jung, and since his name is Jung, he had to literally prove that his name actually means he lives through his action. So Najib Jung, true to his name, had a literal jung with on everything with Arvind Kejriwal, on everything, and so much so that this matter went to court, Delhi High Court. Now, Delhi High Court normally gives nice judgments. It is known to be a very progressive court and gives very appropriate judgments. But somehow in this matter, Delhi High Court faltered. Why I say faulted is because the Supreme Court also overturned their judgment, right? I'm not. That's not the only reason, but I'll tell you, Delhi High Court, what it said was that according to this provision, LG is the boss. Sorry, Mr. Kejriwal, get lost from here. Don't waste our time. LG is the boss. Now, if and I will verbatim quote the statement if I remember. So Delhi High Court said that uh, the LG of Delhi exercised complete control of all matters regarding NCT of Delhi. Complete control on all matters. Now, see, if you make this kind of judgment, what are you doing? Think of the LG. Who is the LG after all? LG is a person who has been appointed, right? And this person has no responsibility towards the people. So LG has been given all the authority, ultimate power, authority without responsibility, no accountability. What can people go and to do? Go and claim with from the LG? LG is not chosen by people. He has been appointed by the center. Now look at the chief minister. Look at the chief minister. CM is a person who has been the MLAs have been elected by the people. So CM is a person who is accountable towards the people. List of all the promises that I'll achieve all these things. So CM has all the responsibility towards the people, all the accountability towards the people, without any kind of authority. Just a minute, guys. Guys, let me get this sorted out. I'll just be back in a few minutes. Don't leave the session. It's not a end of class and all. Don't rejoice. End of class. Just wait. Guys, let's take a small break. Be back at 11:20, and we'll continue further. I'm trying to get this resolved. Let me take a poll first quickly. How many of you feel that the background volume is a bit too much to even focus on studying? A for yes, too much of noise. B for manageable noise. Okay, so some of you do have a concern. Okay, let's come back at 11:20 and we'll continue further. We'll see as to what can be done. Okay, break please. Sorry for the delay, guys. I think we'll have to adjust for now. Maybe in a couple of hours, this problem will be sorted out. Is there some kind of sound right now? Oh, firstly, are we all still in the class? Okay, let's hope things improve. There is some work going on in the other floors, and the soundproofing just seems to not be sufficient for the kind of work going on nearby. Okay, so after disrupting the entire flow of our very interesting discussion, let's come back. So, as I was talking about the Delhi High Court judgment, though we have already explained and understood this point that Delhi High Court's judgment was not appropriate, I just wanted to bring to your attention the real concern here. The real concern is that the Delhi High Court said LG, a person with no accountability, has the ultimate authority, and the chief minister, with all the accountability towards people, has no authority. This is a classic example of what we know as accountability authority mismatch. Because rightfully, the person who has the power, right, he should be held responsible for actions and inactions. But here, it's a complete mismatch. The person who has the power has no responsibility, but the person who does not have the power is now expected to perform. Anyway, this judgment was, of course, challenged by the Kejriwal government in Supreme Court. And once this was challenged, Supreme Court rectified the judgment to a large extent. Supreme Court gave a very simple idea here. Supreme Court said, see, understand we are functioning in a parliamentary setup. Please, we are functioning in a parliamentary setup where the real head is the head of government. So making the LG an appointed authority as the real head will not go down well within a parliamentary setup. So the executive head of state is the chief minister, and the LG is and the LG is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. Right? Now, very important. The Supreme Court did not cancel all these provisions, but it said that yes, there can be a genuine difference of opinion. It's possible. But whenever there is a difference of opinion, the disagreement should be genuine disagreement. It cannot be on a very random or a casual kind of thing. And when there is a disagreement, it should be recorded by the LG. What is your point of disagreement? If you say that no, I don't like blue curtains, please tell me why you don't like blue curtains. If the CM says, sir, appoint this person to that post, and you say no, please tell why you are not agreeing with the CM's advice. So, LG should reserve a matter for the consideration of the president in exceptional situations where there is a genuine disagreement between the two. Right? Now, Delhi government does not require LG's consent to implement its decision, even though it has to keep him informed of all decisions. A very important statement. So, this is somewhat like Article 78 or Article 167. Now, if you remember what is Article 78 or Article 167, what is that? Any idea? Article 167, by any chance, do you have any idea on what is this article? Yes, this is basically the duty of the PM to furnish information to the president, or the duty of the CM to furnish information to the governor. So, same thing was done here. Delhi government does not require LG's consent. Delhi government need not take LG's consent to implement its decisions, even though it has to keep him updated. So inform him, but don't wait for his ultimate consent and all. Of course, why should an elected government wait for an appointed authority's consent? So this largely solved the matter. The issue was resolved. Nothing much to discuss now. But sadly, the parliament, the government passed a law. It modified the Government of NCT of Delhi Act 2021. This was modified. Now the government said, the center said, see, we want to promote harmony between legislature and the executive. And after all, Supreme Court has given a judgment in 2018. We also want to ensure that the judgment is now in practice. So to give effect to the interpretation made by Supreme Court, because Supreme Court has interpreted that the CM is the real boss, not the LG. So we have to give effect to that interpretation also, right? Look at the intention of the central government. Such noble intentions, right? Some of you always make fun of center, that center is by a partisan, etc. Look at the noble intention. How nice that all they want is harmonious relations. In fact, the center wants to give effect to Supreme Court judgment also. What more do you want? Now, let's see the changes made. Just to point this out, the real head of Delhi, now Chief Minister. Yes or no? According to Supreme Court judgment, the real head is the CM. Just hold that thought. Let's see the provisions. The term government. First thing, tell me, if I say Delhi government, what comes in your mind? CM or LG? Supreme Court judgment. What comes in your mind? But look at the change made. The term government referred to in any law made by the assembly will imply lieutenant governor. Strange, right? So, government of Delhi means what? LG. Mind you, center is giving effect to the Supreme Court's interpretation. Please keep that in mind. How noble are the intentions? Nice central government. Smooth, very, very smooth. Now, second thing is that we have these Lok Sabha rules, we have Rajya Sabha rules. Every assembly follows its own rules. They make their own rules of procedure. We call them the rules of procedure and conduct of business. So, the change was that the rules of procedure and conduct of business of the Delhi Assembly, it must be consistent with the rules of procedure and conduct of business of the Lok Sabha. Basically, to show that the Delhi Assembly is subservient to the Parliament, you have to follow the rules of the Parliament. Simple. Number 3. Now, one more question to you. What do you think is the purpose of Parliament? Tell me. Apart from lawmaking, when it comes to accountability, what is the purpose of Parliament? What is the duty of the Parliament or the MPs there? Apart from making laws and all, what is your duty as a parliamentarian, as an elected representative? Okay, checking the Council of Ministers, discussion, debate. Ultimately, you have to keep the government in check, holding the ministers accountable, right? Ensuring that the ministers perform their tasks properly through asking questions, through raising motions, through discussions and debates on bills, proposals, etc. My point is very, very simple, right? This is a task of every parliamentarian, every legislator. In fact, that's the crux of parliamentary system. We constantly say that the executive is accountable to legislature, right? It's an element of parliamentary form of government. We have learned this from UK. Now, look at the change. The act prohibits the assembly from making any rule or enabling itself or its committee to do what? To consider the matters of day-to-day administration of the NCT of Delhi. Day-to-day administration of NCT of Delhi, the assembly cannot, prohibits, cannot do it, cannot conduct any inquiry in relation to administrative decisions. And we know very well that NCT of Delhi, government of Delhi is now LG. And the assembly of Delhi cannot question the government of Delhi. Imagine tomorrow a law is made. Parliament is no longer allowed to question the government. You will laugh at the law. What kind of law is this? But here, the law was made like this, that the assembly of Delhi cannot question Delhi government. Of course, the Delhi government is the LG. And then, let's also understand this very important point here. Look at the Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court says that Delhi government does not require LG's consent, does not need LG's consent. Okay, fair enough. Let's come to the change. On certain matters, on certain matters, as specified by the LG only, as specified by the LG only. His opinion, wait, must be obtained. On certain matters, LG's opinion has to be obtained before taking any executive action. And there is no time frame also. No time frame for LG to give opinion. But here Supreme Court was saying that Delhi government does not require LG's consent. And government said that we are giving effect to Supreme Court judgment. How does it give effect to Supreme Court judgment? Maybe we don't understand this. You are actually changing the law to mean something exactly opposite to a Supreme Court judgment, right? I mean, you can do it, but then don't make all these statements that we are giving effect to a Supreme Court judgment and all, right? So, in fact, uh, I don't remember verbatim the statement in the SOR, but the government said that the Amendment Act of 2021 in no manner attempts to override the constitutional bench's decision of 2018. It only seeks to bring to and streamline the structure of governance in Delhi. And it was mentioned that it is being done to streamline the administration of Delhi in tune with the principles enshrined in the constitution and have a healthy relationship between the executive and legislature. It's all nonsense. Bunch of nonsense. Because what you have done is you have taken back all the powers, given it to LG. Anyway, one more change was made was this, that sometimes LG can also reserve certain bills passed by the assembly for the center's consideration, just like states do. Bills which will take away the high court's power, which will the bills which the president will ask. Look at this. Bills dealing with salaries and allowances of speaker, deputy speaker, and members of assembly and ministers. So Delhi assembly cannot increase its own salary now. Center decides, right? Bills relating to the official languages, etc. So such bills have to be reserved for the center before being passed by the Delhi government. Clear? This was a change made. Anyway, I hope the point has been understood by everyone. Now coming to yet another matter which was running on the sidelines. This matter was on the control of officers in Delhi. Control of officers in Delhi. The question here is, who has the power to appoint and transfer officers in Delhi? That is SPSC officers. Who has the power to appoint or transfer officers in Delhi? That's the question. Now see, the point here is very simple. The point is that this control of services and civil servants, control over services and civil servants is of entry 41 in the state list. Now, as of now, the Delhi Assembly has no powers on three topics: entry 1, entry 2, entry 18, public order, police, and land. Right? But entry 41, which is a SPSC and the officers involved in Delhi, right? There, the Delhi Assembly has a power. So this question was being raised that who controls? This matter was challenged by Arvind Kejriwal government in the Supreme Court that see, we want to control the officers in Delhi. After all, people have voted for me. So we have a very critical question which is asked to every political party. And the answer is very simple. When any political party wins the election, what does it control? If you are asked this question, a political party has won the election. What does it control? Don't say power. Power is a very vague kind of word. In reality, any party which which has won the election gets to control you, the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is the arm of the state. Now here, Delhi Assembly or the Delhi government is the rightful executive there, and they have the right to control the officers. Without the officers, how will a minister be able to fulfill his promises? So Supreme Court rightfully said that control over services and civil servants lies with the Delhi government. Right? So point number one is that the control, of course, lies with Delhi government. And union's executive power is limited to only three topics. Rightfully, which three topics? Public order, police, and land. Because these are the only three topics where the Delhi government has no power. Simple. And Delhi government's power is limited in only these three topics: public order, police, and land. So central government's power is only on these three areas, and Delhi government's power is not there in only these three areas. And also, LG may exercise discretion only in those matters which fall outside the power of Delhi government. Which means what matters? Police, public order, land. That's it. So Supreme Court clarified that, see guys, Delhi government has full control over the officers in Delhi. And what does Delhi government not have control over? Public order, police, and land. That is it. Don't create new scenarios. Simple. So this was the Delhi Supreme Court judgment this year only. Before they went for their summer vacation, they gave this judgment. Very happy with the judgment. Oh, nice. Right. Uh, because in 2019, there was a split verdict by Supreme Court only. So they rectified that, and they gave this judgment that Delhi government controls all the officers. Now what happened was that when this topic came up as a judgment, central government's power was curtailed. The wings were clipped. Suddenly, the moment this judgment came out, Arvind Kejriwal rejoicing that, come on, now we have control over Delhi government. Sarji gets back the control. Very happy. The day the Supreme Court went on summer vacation, I hope you know, Supreme Court goes on long 45-day summer vacation. Right? At that very moment, the government brought an ordinance, which was later made into a law. So, what does the ordinance and now the law say? Please look at this. Notwithstanding, in spite of, notwithstanding, in spite of anything contained in any judgment, any order, or any decree, conclusion of any court, Assembly of Delhi will have no power over entry 41. Done. Simply bypassing Supreme Court judgment that come what may, whatever is mentioned in any judgment, any court order, any conclusion, we don't care. The Delhi Assembly has no control over state list subjects. The Lieutenant Governor shall act in his sole discretion, in his own discretion, in a matter which falls outside the purview of the powers conferred on Assembly, meaning also now entry 41, okay, but in respect of which powers or functions are given to him by the President. So now LG controls the officers in Delhi. Sole discretion, on his own completely. Now, central government may make rules to provide for matters in connection with the service conditions of all the officers of Delhi. Who will make rules for your service conditions? Central government. So if central government makes rules for your service conditions as an officer in Delhi, then do you think you are bound, you are owing your allegiance and loyalty to Delhi government? No. As a civil servant, then my boss is central government. Then who are you? State government, central government, my boss. And then they also went ahead to create a body called National Capital Civil Service Authority. Now this body has been created in Delhi. What's the task of this body? Members. Firstly, the CM is the chairperson. Oh, mark of respect for the CM. Chief Secretary of the Delhi is the member, and the Principal Home Secretary is a member. So these three people are the members of this NCCSA, the National Capital Civil Service Authority. Okay. Now please understand this point. What's the function of this body? To recommend transfers, postings, vigilance, capacity building, meaning training for all Group A and DANIX to LG. Are we clear? So recommending the transfer, posting, vigilance, capacity building, etc. for every officer posted in Delhi. Now comes the real question. The real question is that, just hear me out. This body is going to decide on what is going to be the conditions of service of all the officers in Delhi, right? My point is very simple. When you are saying that this body will decide, then how are decisions going to be made? Decisions are going to be made by majority vote. Three people are there. And let me tell you, the quorum for meetings is two. So if two people come, meetings will take place. And in this particular committee or this body, they decide on transferring authorities or employees, Group A officers. Okay. Uh, okay. So anyway, coming to this, what is DANIX? DANIX is civil servants. If you look at the civil services with respect to Delhi, Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, that's called DANIX. The officers posted to these areas, DANIX. Are we clear? Delhi, Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Clear? So now this committee is going to transfer, post, etc., train all the staff who are posted in Delhi. We have two IAS officers. Now the IAS officer knows that his service conditions are controlled by the central government. So as an IAS officer, who will you support? The central government or the state government? You will support the central government. And these two people can take all the decisions on their own, simply outvoting the chief minister, because all matters are to be decided by majority vote. Now, if at any point of time these officers don't act at the behest of central government, you have one more level, right? What is that? LG can return the recommendation, and in case of disputes, LG's decision shall be final. So if there is some issue with transferring some employee here or there, and this committee says, please appoint that person to that post, LG can say, sorry, I won't. Ultimately, there is complete control uh, at the hands of center with respect to all the officers in Delhi. So if you are posted in Delhi, you better be subservient to central government, to cut a long story short. Now, just to give you some fun-filled point here, when this ordinance was promulgated, Arvind Kejriwal, Ar- Arvind Kejriwal was completely. Am I audible, or is the sound a bit too much? Hmm. Uh, okay. Despite repeated, you go and tell them, they stop for some time and they start again. Just give me 2 minutes, guys. I'm extremely apologetic today. I know this disrupts the entire flow of what we teach. Uh, I can fully understand that. It's very disheartening to have frequent disruptions. Just hold on. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, changing the studios will not really help because this task is being done all across. So I just went and saw the sound in other studios. It's exactly the same, not much of a difference. Anyway, I will try to be as loud as possible. So what I was saying was, we'll move on to the next topic. Just finishing this argument here. So when this ordinance was made, of course, when you promulgate the ordinance, it's the executive which makes the ordinance. So before the parliamentary session, the monsoon session was about to begin. Arvind Kejriwal tried to, convince all the parties that please support me. Let's get this bill stopped in the Rajya Sabha, because that's the way you can stop the bill. Because in the Lok Sabha, government has brute majority. But sadly, nobody came to his help, and this bill was passed. And now the point is that if you come here and look at the constitutional provisions, look at this now. Parliament is competent to make laws over all matters in the state and concurrent list. This means Parliament is competent to make laws on all matters in the state list. So there is no anomaly here that the Parliament has made a law. Now this becomes a challenge, and that is the concern. Anyway, let's see how things unfold in future on this. Clear? Oh, small error here. NCT of Delhi. So this is not NCDT, NCTD, National Capital Territory of Delhi. Uh, Quorum, NCVA. Quorum means people who are the minimum number of people required for the meeting to come function. So in this 3-member group, even if 2 people come, the meeting will take place. So the CM may not come, nobody cares. If the other 2 people come, the meeting will continue. Right? That's it. We are done with the issue of UTs. Just to summarize it, right? LG was in full celebration mode, of course, because it's a great thing for LG. After all, LG now has full authority, full enjoyment, right? First things first, what's the issue? Issue number one: if you are giving LG all the control, it goes back to the same problem. The what we had discussed earlier, the issue of accountability authority mismatch, right? That's there. Number two, what is accountability authority mismatch? That people who are accountable, like the CM, has no real power, and people who are not accountable have all the authority. Also, think of it. We say that there is something called a triple chain of accountability. I'll explain what this means. Triple chain of accountability. So, what's the meaning of this triple chain of accountability? This means that a civil servant is always responsible or accountable to the minister, who is in turn responsible or accountable to the people. The assembly and the people. So, accountable to, accountable to. This is a triple chain mechanism. Now it is broken because now the civil servant is not accountable to minister. It is accountable to the LG. ministers on their own accountable to the people. So this chain gets broken, right? And also, when there is no time frame for LG to take decisions, then it will also cause a delay in decision making. No time frame for LG to decide. Delay in decision making. So these are some of the concerns that are there. Now, how effectively can they be resolved? Only time will tell. Of course, we know very well that this issue can be easily resolved uh, if the same party comes to power at the central level and the Delhi level. Then I think there'll be no issue. But till the uh, different parties rule the Delhi assembly and the center, I think this issue is going to continue, because this is not a constitutional issue, but it is also a political issue. Khambabati. Issues also include anti-ethical to Supreme Court judgments. No, 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 no. See, right now I don't know, but in future, once we study over the course of next weekend, when we study about the fundamental rights, you will find that there have been multiple occasions where the parliament has gone beyond and modified the laws, the provisions, the constitution to bypass Supreme Court judgments. It's very common. I mean, more common than you think. So it's not a big deal. So that may not be a concern. Sir, Supreme Court can interfere and cancel the ordinance. No, no. Ordinance is passed. It's now a law. Ordinance has been made into a law now. Yes, Supreme Court can cancel law again. See, this is the point here. This Supreme Court gave a judgment. Parliament modified the judgment and made a law. Supreme Court cancels the law. Parliament again makes a law. Supreme Court cancels. Parliament again does it. They both can keep on doing it till somebody stops. That's the whole point. Somebody has to stop. Now, whether it is Supreme Court or the Parliament, that is something that we can only sit and watch. So in some cases, normally it's the Parliament. In some cases, it's the Supreme Court. But yes, one body does stop. Anyway, that's all as far as the UTs are concerned. It's an important topic. A question can always be expected, especially after a judgment comes on the topic. A question can be expected in the main examination. Now coming to Article 370, temporary provision with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, this is Article 370. Now, I won't be going into details of what was the story of Jammu and Kashmir. I'm sure you have been privy to a lot of information in your post-independence classes, in your IR classes, etc. If not, you will be dealing with all this. I'll just give you a brief on what exactly is the issue of this Jammu and Kashmir's separate constitution. So, firstly, we'll know what was the original situation, and then we'll see as to what is the situation currently. So, Article 370 was originally brought as the draft Article 306A by N. Gopala Swamy Iyengar, who was the Diwan Bahadur, the PM of J&K in 1937 to 43. So, the idea being that back in 1947, a lot of these princely states were signing the instrument of accession, where they want to accede to India. Instrument of accession, that we are going to give up our sovereignty, our external sovereignty completely to India, meaning We will give the powers of defense, we will give the powers over external affairs, that is foreign policy, and every communication powers to India. Now, a lot of these princely states were signing all these documents, including a merger document which was being signed. And more, what was a merger document? That we are fully and comprehensively merging with India. No limitations, no conditions. So, since these princely states were already merging with India, some of them were not. Jammu and Kashmir was one such example where it wanted to take its own time. So it neither merged with India nor Pakistan in 1947. Now, Jammu and Kashmir was a very unique state with a Hindu leader, king, and Muslim majority state, province. The king was Raja Hari Singh, and Raja Hari Singh, some people say, was eyeing some kind of independence. He felt that there is a scope for independence, a separate country only. Now, we don't know what is going on in his mind. Why to second guess all these things? These are more for political debates and all. But anyway, he did not join either India or Pakistan. India was waiting patiently. Pakistan's patience ran out. Pakistan sent its armed forces personnel. Sorry, they claimed that the tribals in these areas stormed inside Kashmir and attacked Jammu and Kashmir. Hari Singh had no way out. He approached India for help. India immediately sent its forces and we started pushing them back, the tribals back outside of Kashmir, almost outside of Kashmir. In the meantime, Lord Mountbatten told Nehru that why are you fighting and all? Why don't you resolve these problems peacefully? Peaceful resolution. You are a leader, world renowned leader, right? We have made a body for all these things. Remember this body, UNO. Nehru said, yes, yes, I remember UNO. In 1945, you made this body and you made as a founding member also, despite us not being independent. Yes, go to UNO and complain. UNO was sitting idle, doing nothing, right? Wanting to interfere here and there. So we approached UN and complained. The matter was taken up by the UN, and that popularly became known as the Resolution number 47, the UN Security Council Resolution 47. And in this Resolution 47, UN said, stop, 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 no fighting, please, stop, ceasefire. And this line of control was originally called the ceasefire line. Ceasefire meaning stop fighting, stay at your place, like statue, don't move. So the forces here, Pakistani, Indian forces here, stop fighting. Now UN said, let's do one thing, let the people decide. Simple. Why don't we ask the people of Kashmir? Yes or no? People of Kashmir. We should have what we know as this word, plebiscite. Plebiscite. Plebiscite means a voting where people are asked questions on what to do. So imagine today India wants to attack Pakistan and a voting line opens up. All the people, please vote yes or no. Should we attack Pakistan? Type A for yes, B for no, and send an SMS to this number. That's plebiscite, an example. But for plebiscite, some conditions have to be fulfilled. What condition? Condition number one, Pakistan, you please withdraw all your forces from here. Please move out of Kashmir. Come on. India, you also please reduce your forces and keep only sufficient force to maintain law and order. Nothing else. Once this is done, voting will take place under the control of the Hari Singh administration. Now, the point was that India said, Pakistan, come on, move out quickly. Pakistan said, what move out? You move out first. India said, first condition, Pakistan move out. Second condition, we will put limited forces. Pakistan said, no, 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 no. There are two conditions. Who said first and second? First condition is India, you leave. You know what happened? We said Pakistan leave. Pakistan said India leave. Nobody left. No plebiscite, no voting ever took place. So this is a situation. In fact, in 1963, Pakistan gave this part to China on its own, Sakshgam Valley. This shows the intentions of Pakistan towards India, that it can compromise with anything and everything, but cannot see India succeeding. This is at a higher vantage point. This is a Siachen. This is where we have Siachen, the highest battlefield of sorts, right? So, anyway, this is the current situation. This area, Gilgit Baltistan, this area is called Azad Kashmir. We collectively call this entire area as Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And these shameless people call this area as IOK, India occupied Kashmir. This is Exaichen, line of actual control, keeps on changing depending on our relations with China. So now, since Hari Singh had already signed the instrument of accession with India, did not sign the merger document, so we said let's treat Jammu and Kashmir differently, and let's for a temporary period, have a separate article for Jammu and Kashmir. So the origin being the draft article 306A made by Gopalaswamy Iyengar, the same person who gave the formula for vote value of president also. Anyway, when this particular special treatment was given to Jammu and Kashmir, all the other princely states who had joined India without any condition became very upset. Right? Maulana Hazrat Mohani and all, they opposed. What is this nonsense? We joined India comprehensively, right? Without any condition. Why this special treatment for Jammu and Kashmir? Anyway, so this was done. And then for Jammu and Kashmir, it was asked, okay, prepare your own constitution. A separate constituent assembly was created in 1951, the task of which was to create a separate constitution within the framework of Indian constitution, right? And it took around 5-6 years. And in 1957, the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir created the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, which came into force on the 26th of January 1957, and the Constituent Assembly was disbanded. Task over. Constituent Assembly is a body which is formed to create a constitution. Done. Task over. Are you clear? So this was the story, and a misconception that we have this provision as temporary. What's temporary? Temporary does not mean subject to change at free will. Temporary means the negotiations between India and the Kashmir administration were temporary. Why temporary? Because the full negotiation, the final settlement is still pending. So the constitution, right, can only adopt an interim agreement right now with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, pending the final settlement of all the disputes, land disputes in Jammu and Kashmir. Once we restore the pre 1947 period, then we can renegotiate the relationship between Jammu and Kashmir and Indian government. This was the original idea of making it temporary. Temporary not meaning changing at any point of time, but temporary because as of now, the ground realities in Kashmir, 1949, are, you know, not very conducive to a proper negotiation. That is why uh, the special condition of Jammu and Kashmir is yet to be fully negotiated. Right? It was a partial negotiation with a partial Jammu and Kashmir. So I think though without any affiliation and support to uh, this politician from Jammu and Kashmir. So recently, one politician, Omar Abdullah, he made a statement in an interview that India is showing all its fangs and doing all these things only in the Indian part of Kashmir. If they have any strength and capacity, why don't they go and occupy Pakistani side of Kashmir? Or why don't they go and occupy Aksai Chin? That's also part of Kashmir. That's true actually. So far, whatever we have done is only on the Indian side of Kashmir, right? Whatever changes we do, yes, because if we go all out to occupy this area, it means nothing but a war between India and Pakistan, and a war which we'll win, of course, but at the cost of bloodshed. And this part, Aksai Chin, I'm not really sure what to say here, because here a country is involved which is, if not more, equally powerful, and right, is very very aggressive as well. So yes, that's true. Allegations are true that when we make any kind of change, we are only focusing on the Indian side of Kashmir, right? So that's also correct. But again, occupying Pakistan side of Kashmir would simply result in loss of lives. So that's okay, right? And we know Pakistan has nothing to lose. So if we go out in a war with Pakistan, it's only our loss, because we are a country which is moving towards development. Pakistan is a failed state. It has nothing to lose. That's their whole agenda in life. Nonsense. So it's okay. Politicians love to make all these grandiose statements. So what can we say? Now, coming to Article 370. What is Article 370? Or what it used to be? But before that, one question. This matter is being discussed in the court on Article 370. I want to know, do we still have Article 370? A for yes, B for no. Do we still have Article 370? Oh, 50-50. Let's see. You'll be surprised to know what is the current situation. Article 370 originally read these things. So, the article said the provisions of Article 1 and Article 370 of the Indian Constitution shall apply to Jammu and Kashmir. Simple. So, originally only two articles of our Constitution were made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. Only two. Now, other articles of Indian Constitution can be made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir if the president issues an order, but after concurrence with the government of state. What is the meaning of concurrence? Binding. Concurrence is binding. So other articles can be made applicable if the president issues an order after concurrence with the state government. Meaning, Indian constitution can be made applicable on Jammu and Kashmir only if the state government approves. Don't worry. 47 orders. They were called presidential orders, or also called constitutional orders. So far, till 2019, 47 such orders were passed to implement almost two-thirds of Indian constitution on Jammu and Kashmir. It was done. Almost two-thirds. Okay, so this task is over. Simple. So Article 1 is applicable. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. This is applicable. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states, meaning indestructible union. So Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. Integral part of India. Cannot be taken away. Simple. Now, one simple question. Parliament can make laws on, say, Madhya Pradesh for union list subject and concurrent list subjects. Yes or no? Parliament can make laws on union list topic for say a state like MP, UP, etc. Yes. Does the parliament need the permission of these state governments to make laws on union list subject? Tell me. If the parliament wants to make law on a union list subject, does it need the approval of Kerala government, West Bengal government, Tamil Nadu government, UP government? Of course not. It's a union list subject. It's my area. I don't need your permission. But let's look at Jammu and Kashmir. Parliament can make laws on matters on union list and concurrent list for the state. Of course, it can, but in consultation with the state government on topics which relate to defense, external affairs, and communications. No problem. Consultation. But after concurrence of the government on all other topics. So sadly, for Jammu and Kashmir, Parliament could not make laws on all the topics without the state government's approval. Are you getting this point here? The amount of autonomy being given, that I cannot make laws on even those topics mentioned in the union list for your state without your approval. Are you clear? These three topics were allowed because these three were a part of instrument of accession. That is why allowed. But in all other topics, you needed the permission of the state government. Without state government's permission, Indian Parliament could not make a law on even union list topics which are meant for the center only. But this was only meant for Jammu and Kashmir. Fair enough. Now, some of you can say, sir, why don't you modify this? Change everything. Remove all these special powers. Fair enough. Can that be done? Yes. This same article allowed this process also. Clause 3. The same article, clause 3, allowed changes. Modifications possible? Yes, it is possible. Notwithstanding anything in the foregoing provisions, in the provisions mentioned above. In spite of whatever is mentioned, don't worry. The president can do it. May, by public notification, president may, by public notification, declare that this article shall cease to operate. Article cancelled. Or shall be operative only with exceptions and modifications. And from such date, as he mentions. So yes, changes can be made. But, provided that the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of the state shall be necessary. Meaning, to change Article 370, the president can issue an order. But sadly, that order requires what? The what? Recommendation of what? State government, not the state government. Constituent Assembly of the state. What is this Constituent Assembly? Do you remember? This body was formed in 1951 to create a constitution for Jammu and Kashmir, right? And this body was dissolved also once the task was over. Dissolved in 1957. Need permission only for J&K or for all states? Or for J&K only? Why for other states? For J&K only. Constituent Assembly. This was the body which was formed in 1951 to give Jammu and Kashmir its own constitution. Now their permission is required. Where is this body now? 70 years back, the body has been dissolved. Dissolved. Khatam. In the word of Rahul Gandhi. Done. Members are all dead. Right? If they come and give an approval, it'll be very weird actually. They're all dead, right? We'll have to use some kind of a Ouija board or something to call them back, right? That may not be possible. So, what do we do now? How to make a change? I mean, this is a point where we can do nothing. So, how was this change actually made? See, understand a simple point here. If you refer to Article 366, it contains definitions. While we were discussing this topic, Parliament, we had seen that there's an Anglo-Indian nomination. Of course, now it is no longer there. 2 seats, right? Anglo-Indian, Anglo-Indian uh, nomination is there. But as far as this topic is concerned, the bigger question to answer is who is an Anglo-Indian? So I had mentioned that if you look at Article 366, you'll find a definition there of Anglo-Indian, that any person whose father or any male progenitor is of a European descent and all. Article 366 contains definitions of a few terms only, 30 odd terms. Now, there is also one more article called Article 367. This article talks about interpretation. If at any point of time you have some confusion in the meaning of a word, only a few words, then you can refer to a law called General Clauses Act of 1897. This is the law which can be used to understand the meaning of certain words. For example, there's a word called financial year. What is financial year? From April to March. Yes or no? How do you know it? Of course, you may say, sir, you told us. No, of course. It's great that you trust me so much. Very nice. Very good. But it must be mentioned somewhere. Don't say Lakshmikant. It is mentioned in this law only. Look at this. Financial year shall mean the year commencing on the first day of April. Right? So it is mentioned somewhere. Government shall include both the central government and the state government. What is the definition of an immovable property? It shall include land, benefits to arise out of land, things attached to earth, or permanently fastened to anything attached to the earth. So, this particular law contains a list of definitions of various words. If you have any confusion pertaining to any of these words, please refer to the General Clauses Act. Now, let's come to the point of Article 370 once again. Firstly, back in 2019, in the month of August 2019, what did we have? We had what? We had President's rule in Jammu and Kashmir. We'll discuss today only what is President's rule. Just to give you a brief, when there is President's rule, there is no state government, there is no state assembly, they're all gone, right? So then, in President's rule, Parliament acts as the state legislature and governor acts as the government. Of course, the center or through center. or controlled by center. So this is a situation that is there in a president's rule. Are we clear? In a president's rule, there is no state government, there is no assembly. It is not there only. So who makes laws for the state? Parliament. Who is the executive authority in the state? The governor or the central government. Okay. Anyway, sideline it, ignore it. What was done? Very, very simple. An order was issued. And what was the order? The order was modifying General Clauses Act. Definition of Constituent Assembly changed. For J&K only. Not for everyone. Only for J&K. That's it. The definition only was changed. In the General Clauses Act, this was changed. So, what they said was the Constituent Assembly of J&K would mean the Legislative Assembly of J&K. Simple. Now, during President's rule, what is this assembly? Parliament. So now, provided that the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly is required. No. State Assembly is required because definition has been changed. And because it's President's rule, Parliament's recommendation is required. Parliament gave the recommendation, modification made. Simple. The article was modified. Are we clear? And also to apply Indian Constitution on Jammu and Kashmir, state government's approval is required. There is no state government. But during the President's rule, who is the state government? Governor. Governor gave the approval. All the provisions of Indian Constitution were made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. All provisions made applicable, including the change definition also made applicable, done together. This means what? Now the entire Indian Constitution was made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir, including the Article 367, including the definition change. So the Constituent Assembly's recommendation came in the form of State Assembly, in the form of Parliament. Simple. Would mean Parliament during President's rule. Are we clear on this, everybody? So to address your question now, what happened to Article 370? It was modified. The article is still there. Okay. Constitution application to Jammu and Kashmir order was passed. All the provisions of the Constitution shall now extend to Jammu and Kashmir. Every article now extends to Jammu and Kashmir. It revokes the power. Revokes the power. Article is still present. Now those provisions have been modified. Article has not been repealed. So what is Article 370 now? This is Article 370 now. For all of you who had this dilemma, we still have Article 370, but now it has been modified completely. And what is that? All provisions of this Constitution as amended from time to time without any modifications or exceptions shall apply to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. All provisions of this constitution as amended from time to time without modifications or exceptions shall apply to Jammu and Kashmir. Notwithstanding, in spite of anything contrary contained in any article or the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, or any law, any document, any judgment, any ordinance, any order, any bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, custom, usage, instrument, treaty, agreement, nothing. We don't care what is mentioned anywhere. The entire Indian Constitution is now applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. All the special drama that was here, all this gone. Khatam. Clear? So Article 370 is still there. It has just been modified. And just to clarify, since the entire Indian Constitution is applicable, entire Indian Constitution, Article 3 is also applicable. Yes or no? Article 3. We saw yesterday only. What is Article 3? Article 3 refers to what? Tell me. Article 3, Parliament's power to alter the boundary, change the name, etc. Internal or domestic reorganization available. This means now a law was passed, J&K Reorganization Act 2019, and J&K was bifurcated into two different UTs, UT of Jammu and Kashmir and UT of Ladakh. Are we clear on this? Everyone. This is how we came to have a modification in the Jammu and Kashmir's situation. So Ladakh, two districts only, Kargil and Leh, will now be a part of Ladakh, Kargil and Leh, and all the districts are a part of Jammu and Kashmir UT. Both UTs have a head called administrator, who is called an LG in both these states. Now, in the case of Ladakh, we don't have an assembly. We'll only have the administrator, just like Chandigarh, Daman and Diu, Lakshadweep, Andaman, Nicobar, right? But in case of Jammu and Kashmir, we are going to have an assembly, right? Assembly is there with maximum 114 seats, out of which 24 will remain vacant. Why 24 to remain vacant? These seats which belong to or which represent the area which is controlled by Pakistan. So we have kept some seats vacant there. In future, one fine day when we can take that also, then we'll have members from there as well. Okay. So currently this is a maximum, just like the central level maximum seats 114. So after delimitation, we have made it 90. For the first time, you will find that we now have reservation for SC/ST in Jammu and Kashmir. It was not there earlier. Okay. So latest delimitation commission's result says that for SCs 7 seats and for STs 9 seats. Okay, these are the number of seats reserved for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. Are we clear? Then the Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir has full authority to make laws on all topics except police and public order. Now, High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will be the common High Court. We have renamed the High Court also now. It is called the High Court of J&K and Ladakh. And 106 central laws will be made applicable to UT of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Aadhaar Act, Right to Education Act, Indian Penal Code. You'll be surprised that in Jammu and Kashmir, they had a separate penal code also. It was called RPC, Ranbir Penal Code. not the actor Ranbir Singh, King Ranbir Singh. It had the same provisions, right? Ranbir Penal Code. But now we have the Indian Penal Code. All laws now applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. It is just like any other part of the country. And if you do know, there is something called Article 35A. This was a part of Indian Constitution, not available, but was still made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. So what is this Article 35 capital A? See, the origin of this article can be traced back to 1920s. So back in 1920s, a lot of people were moving to Jammu and Kashmir, outsiders. So the Kashmiri Pandits and the Dogra Rajput elites, they were not really open to people, outsiders coming to Kashmir and settling there, purchasing land. So these people forced the king, Hari Singh, to make a law. And that law was called State Subject Rule. (1927). The State Subject Rule of 1927. According to this law, which later on became a provision for Jammu and Kashmir only, J&K legislature can define those people who are permanent residents of the state, and those who are permanent residents will be given a certificate called the PRC, Permanent Residency Certificate. So if I am a permanent resident of Jammu and Kashmir, I and only I will have the right of employment in the state government, acquiring property in the state, residing in the state, and every government scheme, program, scholarship, every benefit only meant for me, not for outsiders. So outsiders could not get government jobs, could not be beneficiaries of schemes, could not purchase land, and also could not do what? Could not reside there permanently. This is also gone, no longer available. Are we clear? This is the story of Article 370 so far. Now, this matter is pending in the court. I'm sure you have been hearing of all the facts that have been coming out of our great lawyers arguing in the court. Manohar Lal Sharma uh, case of 2019. The hearing is going on. See, as far as the argument is concerned, lot of people who have filed a case, their claim is that Article 370 is now a permanent provision. Why? Because Constituent Assembly has been dissolved. Once you have dissolved the Constituent Assembly only, then how can that be modified? Right? That's their argument. The government says that no, Article 370 was a temporary provision, and after the dissolution of the Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, the provision became invalid. So the president now has the power. Now, second thing, the petitioners have filed this case saying that how can the president the president act on his own if there is no constituent assembly? The government says no, the president can act, right? Because the president has complete powers to act on his own. Number 3, can this Article 367, the interpretation clause, can it be used to amend the Constitution of India? So again, the petitioners say that no, this can't be used. The only legitimate way to abrogate this was mentioned under this Article 370 clause 3. You have used Article 367's change of definition to amend things here. That is wrong. And they have also said that replacing Constituent Assembly with the State Legislative Assembly is wrong. They are two different bodies with two different purposes. A constituent assembly is a body whose sole task is to make the constitution, and a state legislative assembly is a body whose task is to make laws for the area. Two different purposes. Center says that, see, firstly, Article 367's definition change can be used here. It has been used in the past also. Sardar-e-Riyasat was now called governor since 1965. That is also a case. Secondly, constituent assembly and state legislative assembly can be used interchangeably. Simple. That's their argument. In fact, if you look at our constituent assembly of 1946 to 49, that same group of people in the morning used to act like a parliament, in the afternoon used to act like a constituent assembly. So that's their argument. So these are the fights going on in the court. And again, one more petition has one more contention is that Article 3 cannot be used to make a state into a UT. But government says no, it does not mention anywhere. We can use Article 3 to reorganize the country, and that would include making a state into a UT or a UT into a state. But the government has mentioned very clearly that the JNK statehood in the region will be restored. It is an official submission of the government that the statehood of the region is going to be restored, right? Once the law and order situation in the region has become normal again. Now, whether it will be restored tomorrow or after 10 years, that only two people in this country know, right? Which two people you know very well. Anyway, one more point I'd like to mention here is these change in definitions, right? So the argument is that people are saying this is a classic example of doctrine of colorable legislation. Doctrine of colorable legislation. What's the meaning of this? Very, very simple, not all complicated. It simply means what cannot be done directly can't be done indirectly. What cannot be done directly can't be done indirectly. Means what? Means what? That I'll give an example first. Let us say you approach somebody to express your love for them. You type a message, nice DP, etc. All nonsense you do, and tell them I love you. Text sent. Two blue ticks. Done. Now the message comes from there, or the person calls you and says, don't ever text me again. I should not get a single text from this number from now onwards. And DP becomes invisible, blocked. Now, you go to the market, purchase a new SIM, and text again. Hi, back again. You said, don't text from that number, new number. Tell me, is this allowed? The idea is that you have been told not to text. Not directly, not indirectly. Don't ask your friend, come on, you go and tell him or her. It's also not allowed. Same thing. What is not allowed directly can't be done indirectly also. So, the contention of the petitioners is that the word constituent assembly was deliberately used so as to not allow for a change. How can you change the definition and now do something which was not allowed? So the change could not be done directly. Hence, you cannot change definitions also and cannot do it indirectly as well. So let us see what the Supreme Court has to say on this. And we highly doubt that Supreme Court will cancel all that change that has been made. Right? It is improbable, because normally when things go far ahead, courts can do nothing, and the point does not remain any longer about something being constitutional or unconstitutional. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, though some of you should have asked, but I don't think anybody asked this question about Kachathivu Islands being given to Sri Lanka. Now, when I discussed Article 3, I specifically mentioned that any international boundary disputes can only be solved through Article 368. But did Indira Gandhi not on her own gave this to Sri Lanka? What happened? The case is still pending in the court, and the Supreme Court has said that now it's too late. We can't interfere now. It's an international policy. It's done. It's a foreign policy matter. We can't take it back now. Matter is over. Despite it being unconstitutional, it is done, right? It is over, right? Same thing. So sometimes when there is too much of delay, the question is never about whether something is constitutional or not. The larger question is now whether things can be undone or not. So I'm not really sure if after 4 years it can really be undone. So, Kamapati, I did ask. Oh, okay, great. You have been answered now, if that was the question. So, this is how it is. Anyway, that is all as far as our Article 370 discussion is concerned. Right? I hope now you understand the entire detail of how it was done. Don't expect a question on this until and unless the Supreme Court judgment comes in the examination. Right? That's it. Let's take a break, come back after the break, and we'll take up for discussion the Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 areas. Okay? Break, please, guys. Be back at 2. Okay, Shilpa, I think your doubt is resolved now. That Supreme Court's decisions can be modified by Parliament by law or by amending the Constitution. What was intention of Kapil Sibal for in favor? Intention of Kapil Sibal? I mean, what will his intention be? He is fighting for the petitioners. Anyway, see, I'm not really uh, fit to make any comment on his legal knowledge. Of course, he is way more experienced in the field of law. But sadly, on this matter, maybe he's not well prepared. It's a last minute addition, his name. So if you look at the arguments he's putting forward, it seems that maybe the preparation on his part has not been great. Right? He's a great lawyer, I'm sure. Maybe others do say that he's a very good lawyer. So in that sense, yes, the preparation has been weak so far on his part, and he's just the lawyer for the petitioners. That's it. Nikhil, just like no point even if Supreme Court declared, okay, demonetization illegal. Of course, it's too late. Okay, guys, let's come back at 2:25, somewhere between that, and we'll continue our discussion further. Okay. Let's give you 5 minutes extra time, mental satisfaction and peace. Break, please.